What up, everybody? How we doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you enjoyed your holiday today. We'll get cooking here. Saved. Good. Okay. So while people enter here, I think recapping today quickly first, and then diving right into what happened with the lake effect, or what's happening with the lake effect. Here are kind of the snow totals. Johnny, what up? Oh yeah, stream update. So we got Weather Bell again, so we're cooking with that. Happy Thanksgiving, John, to you too, you and your family. Hopefully you have a nice one. I appreciate you more than you know. And then we got we also were 1080p now. We should be. So hopefully we're not lagging too much. We're moving pretty smoothly. We upgraded from 720 to 1080 stream quality. So we should you guys should be getting a little bit higher quality. Hopefully, maybe not too noticeable, but hopefully a little bit. So let me get. I want to see. Yeah, here we go. So breaking down quickly today what happened. I'm wish I had made an actual snowfall map because I would have done all right. But I had a good PA. We dumped totals even though higher elevation. All the way across here. Widespread. 1 to 4 inches with some 3 to 6s. In here. So we saw a couple pockets there. I was confident PA was going to hold, right? So that was kind of the next box. And I was confident this would do well. And these totals actually ended up, the heavier dynamics developed just a little bit later. So that made it difficult for not only north central Massachusetts to make out, but also these areas to maximize as well. So what we ended up seeing is better dynamics developing farther north and later. And that made it difficult, or that allowed, I should say, for places, across the interior here down into the Berkshires to be able to make out very well. So we saw a solid, 4 to 8 widespread inches in this area with, just northwest of Albany, by Schenectady and by the Capital District and some of the higher elevations, near the Catskills, and that we saw some, even totals over in excess of a foot. In fact, our highest total 14.3 inches over here. I'll slide this if it's bothering anybody. And so that's where we saw our highest totals today. And then now Maine and New Hampshire got some good totals. They're going to get cooking tonight. This area is going to cook tonight. It's going to absolutely cook. If we look here on radar, they're likely thumping right now. But yeah, 9.5 inches out of the Berkshires was the high total out of Massachusetts, which was, it's a good start for some of those higher elevated places. But I believe, I forget, last I checked, W upgrades, yes, indeed. I want to check SBC. So we are not about 991 right now in terms of pressure. Let me pull it back up. Would it take too long to pull it up here? But we're 991 and we're just offshore, just south of Bangor. Currently is our low pressure. So we're about 991, just south here of Augusta and Bangor, right around there. And we're now, we're getting a little bit more, you know, just a little bit. We didn't go full negative really with this. It's the fast flow system, but pulling in some of these stronger dynamics and then heavy snow consolidating across this area right now. So that's kind of how it's going to wrap up tonight in down East Maine. And, that will cover, we've been covering this thing for a good amount of time now. And so it'll be good to get some conclusion with that. And I was glad a lot of people were able to make out pretty well with this. Almost undersold. I think I might have put 4 to 8 at the top here. So I might have covered my tracks a little bit there. But even though I didn't really make official on that. But and then I kind of had a good feel for this 6 to 12 plus, and even actually undersold it. It was actually a lot of 10 plus inch double digit snowfall totals in that area, with as much as 17 inches reported at Mount Holly, and then I believe Londonderry to Vermont. That Magic Mountain had over a foot of snow as well. So there was a lot of good ski resorts that made out pretty well for this storm as well. And then if we just wrap this thing up quickly. You can see here on the HRR some of the short term. We can kind of transition from there as well to lake effect. So you can see the heavy snow, and then that snow line continues to kind of collapse. The low pressure still is intensifying. It's not 988 right now, but it is close, about 991. And so this heavy snow will move out and progress east, and then Canadian times up here. We'll get a good snowstorm as well. So that'll be good, good for them folks. And then we'll get some snow in northern Maine as well. Okay, that kind of concludes what's going on with this storm. So overall, forecast has remained about the same for the past few days. A little bit of waffling back and forth, but the general idea, we've kind of had on lock now for really almost 3-4 days. So not a bad job by models in the medium range. There was kind of a in terms of highlighting, the maximum scenarios, right? We didn't go out of the maximum, meaning there wasn't a scenario that happened that models didn't show happening. So that's always a positive, kind of like different from like a December 17th, 2020, where models it kind of showed, but there weren't many models showing 4 feet of snow. So we didn't have anything like that kind of go on, which is always good to have. It means models weren't god awful, which is good. Even though there were still some small hiccups from models from yesterday. Yeah, not bad. It's only late November snowstorm, right? Interior, right? Some areas close, right? It's classic, kind of when you think of what happens in late November, pretty classic. Yeah. So let's get to lake effect now. Lake effect. This is a real interesting setup here. Real interesting setup for the lake effect. We're looking at again, same dual banding. We're a streamer set up across Lake Ontario and then off of Lake Erie as well. And then I really think it does set up well south of Buffalo as well. I don't think Buffalo will be the significant target here, but we'll see it. We can already see lake effect bands getting going here. Right, we have its temps are still a little bit marginal. Some of these areas and some upslope across Vermont, right? We have this is our snowstorm here from that is moving through today and will move out tonight across Maine. And then on the backside, right, we talk about our cold air coming through. This is our cold air, right? This is all this upper level and mid level energy that needs to move through. And so as a result, right, we'll get these winds off the lake and we'll see kind of a precursor already for probably where some of our heaviest totals or what will be off of Lake Erie, and then we'll see, off of Lake Ontario, Tug Hill, we'll see significant snowfall totals there as well. And maybe even triple digits in Tug Hill. The forecast is exceptional there. If we take a look, um, just incredible footloads. I mean, 61 inches of snow is just the forecast, right? And oftentimes totals overperform for these areas. Dunkirk's the highest here, right? Well south of Buffalo, of nearly 4 feet. So that's just the snowfall forecast. And oftentimes they underdo whatever the max total is. So this probably one of those historic lake effect events, and the only reason I didn't put that in the title was want to hype too much, but um, it will be a massive lake effect event in terms of the highest totals, and we'll keep an eye too here. The Bills game on Sunday, right? They're just south around Orchard Park, just south of. Um, so we'll keep an eye on that, and how that plays out. I think they're forecasted to be pretty close to that band. If they miss out, then it'll probably be easier to have that game on Sunday. And then if not, then Bills Mafia is gonna have to do a lot of shoveling. That's kind of how that's gonna play out. If it gets hit, they'll be probably be pretty close margins, right? Oftentimes they make this large area, but oftentimes the bands get consolidated and confined much more. Um, and then so it's not like the band goes all the way out like this. The bands really go here and they'll waffle back and forth, north and south of the main target area that's forecasted. And then it will dump some snow south of the main area, kind of give it a break, and then some of this will get and then the pretty rather strong winds too, right? So they'll be able the stronger the winds off the lake, the more we'll be seeing those those bands make it further inland, right? And it'll even make it all the way to Vermont, um, and well into upstate New York tomorrow and into Saturday, with squalls too that will move across. So maybe some of these can make it. I would love some first flakes. I thought I had a shot a few days ago for this one, but unfortunate. So hopefully I can get some first flakes at some point soon, but it's all right. Just give me the big one later this winter, whenever. I'll be happy. But so as if we look at the upper levels, right, we have all this upper level energy that still needs to move through, right? In association, we talked about. You can see it on radar currently too, and it's cold air coming in. This is the start of our Arctic weather, our winter-like weather, you could say. Some already got a head start. The last couple storms. This is more. This is going to be more widespread cold air that gets locked into place for a little while. Again, it'll be some days that aren't quite. This will be the beginning of when you get out the door in the morning. You're like, oh, I got this is jacket, hat, and gloves. That's that kind of feel. For those that do, and then so this upper level energy needs to move through, and it will be a long multi-day event for sure, almost a week event, really, possibly. Just all of this upper level energy still needs to work through, and this is 2-3 days out, and it continues. We looked at it last night. You guys saw on stream that were there. There's a lot of call it energy. Some people get mad, but it's fine. It's simplified. A lot of energy that still needs to move through, and you see this at 702. These mid-level dynamics. All of this needs to come through. if it loads. All this kind of needs to, oh my god, let's go. Come on, Tibbets. All of this needs to work through, and until then, it's going to dump, right? So we're even talking Monday, right? Look at the mid-level energy; it's still working through. It's going to need to snow, and then keep an eye too on some light snow somewhere in Kentucky, Mid-Atlantic, maybe even Western Carolina. Keep an eye on that for some light snow potential. And the reason I'm only bringing it up is just for areas that don't typically see a lot of snow. You can kind of see it on radar a little bit, kind of flare up by the Smokies and um, out there in West Virginia. And I'll be curious to see kind of how that plays out. If you're able to get enough precip, right? You kind of see we get some. You can get enough, maybe a little bit, just a little bit, enough moisture off the Atlantic, just to get a little bit of snow across some of these areas. It would be rather light, but maybe some snow possible there. But back to our lake effect. So the real interesting, I think one of the most interesting things, dynamics with this storm, is the thermal gradient in place. What I mean by that is when we take a look at a sounding. And it will be present too because we have such warm, right? Where our lake temperatures on average on Lake Erie, about 54 degrees, the average. That's just the average lake temperature. And so, right, with lake temps in the 50s still, and with really cold, well, not really, but we're getting pretty cold in the upper levels. What we'll see is, pick here. I kind of want just Friday. Let's start in the short term. Let's go Tug Hill first, and then we can go Erie next. We get this real. We look at the. It's really an impressive outing, right? Our dendritic growth zone here, very low in the atmosphere. The lower it is, the colder it is, right? That's what makes lake effect such a different beast, is because you're really maximizing the snow potential. Um, you're really maximizing, in terms of when you look at snow growth atmosphere, you just maximize your potential so much more, because it's really hard to get this cold, right, like you do, because you get on the backside of a trough that moves through, and it's really hard to get this cold oftentimes when you're doing when you're getting or just a regular snowstorm that moves through, like for somewhere in the northeast. And so what makes Lake a feast is you can get so cold in the upper levels, and you can bring that dendritic growth zone so low, right? So you go from 700 to about 850, and that's really low in the atmosphere. That means this cold is sinking very, it's sinking very low in the atmosphere into the lower levels. Our dendritic growth zone is typically our dendritic growth zone. We talked about this last night. It's typically about 5 to 600 millibars. That's the average. Today it was closer to that for a lot of people, and so that's what makes it such a unique beast. And then you're able to get lit when enough lift in the atmosphere. You just look at the gradient here. Look how sharp and steep this is. It's such a steep temperature gradient that you have here. You quickly you go from cold in the upper levels of the atmosphere to 32 degrees at the surface in such a short period of time. Typically, it's a more gradual. We'll see in terms of being in terms of the thermal profile. It's a more gradual temperature drop. Instead, you get it the steep gradient of temperature in terms of temperatures that happens in such a short time, and it really allows for the convective nature of the snow to take place. And you take a look here at Cape, 110 joules, right? Just very impressive, meaning convective available potential energy, and that's measuring. Typically we look at this with thunderstorms, not snowstorms. So, and when lake effect happens, we oftentimes see thunder snow, and this is going to be, a classic thunder snow environment, likely, I would say. I'll take just one more look here, and then we see tomorrow kind of how this progresses, and the soundings get even more exciting. We get more lift to come through -9 omega, typically -1 to -2, indicative of our lift in the atmosphere. Typically -1 to about -2 is plenty to get really heavy snow. You can easily get 1 to 3 inch per hour rates there, depending on your temperature profile. And then you have -9, which is off the charts, right? And so we go to, again, we drop this down 7 again to 8, about 850, 31 degrees, and such a steep gradient in terms of temperature. It's gonna, I mean, those are 4 to 6 inch per hour rates, right there, pretty easily. In terms of snowfall, so it comes down very quick, and then we can kind of do the same thing here. So PA and Ohio, we're going to get into this too, right? So it's deeper the gradient. So I would say a little bit higher shot for thunder snow, at least just in this time frame. Going here off the NAM, but we do have more Cape. It doesn't work like that typically, or it doesn't have to work like that. But the thermal gradient, or the steepness in terms of the temperature change in the atmosphere, is a little bit more impressive for lack of scientific meteorology that's overpassing my head when I took when I learned about lake effect meteorology. So, but and when we look at this, still very steep temperature gradient, 28 degrees, super cold, even lower almost, right, just below 700, and to about 850 millibars, our dendritic growth zone, off the charts, easy, 3 to 5 inch per hour rates right there, with definitely a shot for thunder snow off Lake Erie. So just these soundings are just so impressive, and it's probably going to start overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Early tomorrow morning, we'll see Ohio and Pennsylvania, and then this will move north, and we'll see that streamer set up somewhere in southern New York, and then it's just going to sit, and then off Ontario, it gets going. Again, tomorrow, it gets going late tonight, tomorrow morning, and it's off to the races from there. Brief breaks in between, goes back and forth. Some people get more involved than others, but it's just such a consistent and sharp area, condensed area, where it happens to, right? And just this is 2 days from now. This is Saturday, I believe, and still have it present. So this is just an impressive event that's going to be taking place, and in part these totals, right, are going to stack up so much because this is going to be a multi-day event. If we have a weather bell present here now, so let's go here to the euro. And I gotta refresh my. It's been a minute since I've used weather bells. So let's go to U.S. regions. Go to the Northeast. $500. Oh, I missed you. Beautiful. There is the current storm, the upper level. Get almost the snake tongue look right there. So pretty classic. And then we go, all this upper level energy moves through, continues to, right? And then we look at the mid levels, and all this has to move through as well. All right, look at all this mid level energy that moves through for days. All right, more comes through, maybe a break, and then more comes through. Right, just consistent westerly flow off those lakes, and it just makes for just more than a multi-day, really a week-long event, almost for lake effect. So extremely impressive from a synoptic standpoint, right? Because we're going to be suppressed with the current flow, and so we'll see kind of clipper systems move through without the snow and kind of come offshore, and the every next couple events kind of get sheared off and eventually intensify way up here in the North Atlantic. And then after that, we'll look at the pattern. We'll talk about it briefly after we're done covering that. But there's going to be just a consistent westerly flow off these lakes, and it's going to just make for, I mean, you know, at least 2 to 4 feet of snow off Erie at least, and then at least 4 to 6 feet maximum here off of Lake Ontario. So just very impressive, right? And if you are chasing for the first time lake effect, I got a little bit of a taste of it, not to this extent, but I got a good taste of it last year. Some words of advice. I'm sure people who are more professional about this than me would agree. Um, try not to be on the roads at night if you can. If you don't have like lights around you, even then you don't want to be caught. You don't really too much want to be caught um, on the roads just in general when you're in the middle of the band. If you can try to park up some set up, unless you're like really experienced, and I can't speak for them, but and then also it's a lot harder to get out for some of these areas as well. I appreciate it. Xmas music going in the background. Um, so some of these areas take a long time to clean up, so you may be stuck more depending on where you stay, especially in Tug Hill. It's a really remote area up here. If you're trying to chase this area, it's a really remote. They do great cleanup on I-81 up there. They do amazing cleanup, but um, at least from my experience. But I mean, some of the bigger ones, it just can take a long time. The persistent consistency, so it can make it pretty difficult. And even though it can be such a sharp gradient, um, just outside can be nothing, and but just in here, the cleanup can be so intense that needs to happen that plows just have such a tough time. So that's why those kind of just a couple of amateur thoughts for if you are thinking about it at some point chasing lake effect, or are doing it for this storm, and you're not very experienced with it. I'm not super experienced either, but I have some experience, just a little bit. So let's go to where do I want to go to? Back here. HRR kind of pointing it out, for people too, um, you know, ridiculous. If you're traveling, back west across I-90, you gotta be very careful too. These snow squalls that will move across will be extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Those snow squalls that move across, they will be extremely dangerous. So keep an eye out too, for that. You're going across Pennsylvania, or you're going westbound, regardless. I-90, across upstate New York, regardless of where you're, what direction you're heading, extremely dangerous. Um, you don't want to be caught in the middle of those too badly. So if you can, if you're taking long drives tomorrow, keep an eye out for that, and try not to get try to keep an eye out, and so you're not caught off guard when we do see a significant um, when you do get caught in a significant snow squall. So just try to be aware if that does happen. tomorrow. Or if you're traveling back on Saturday too, the same applies. There'll be snow squalls moving through on Saturday as well. Just tomorrow um, they'll be very widespread, more than today. And then upslope snow potential too, for ski areas in Vermont. So again, kind of covering it. And this is kind of that light snow potential I was talking about for there. Real lack of moisture, but there's some potential for coating to a couple just for some people with that. So here's kind of, again, get back to the snowfall forecast. I mean, it's just a crazy snowfall map right here. Right, this could go back. This peak area could go a little bit further south. Could waver, probably not too much farther north, right? Because the flow has to be off the lake and more difficult to go across. Um, well, more open space over the water, the better. So probably look for either Watertown or just south. Wouldn't surprise me if Lowville, very remote area as well, does pretty well. Pulaski has been just south of a lot of the areas that's faced last year. Um, and you can see I-81 up and down here. Um, don't recommend travel on I-81 for the next for at least the next few days if you're trying to go the full distance. And then here we go to I-90 towards Buffalo. Highly recommend not traveling across there if you can as well, because again, it's going to set up somewhere. Farther south has a higher margin for error, or they just have a higher floor for this event. It's a higher um, hit or miss ceiling for error. It's a higher hit or miss. There's a lower floor, high ceiling situation for just south of Buffalo. If this band can get towards Orchard Park, what we talked about for the Bills game, it's going to be complicated. Lots of snow there potentially. Or if we're just setting up south, then Dunkirk, Springville, that's where those areas start to get involved even more. Luckily, my Saturday travel is south and then west. Might catch a little. Yeah, you could potentially, if you're going over the Appalachians there, you might get some. For sure, you're going back down to Blacksburg. I appreciate everybody coming on here on YouTube and X with me. Again, this won't be a long stream tonight, but just good to cover what's going on and kind of relay the threats. Just again, incredible synoptic setup that's going on, and then I think I'll be able to cover it tomorrow night as well. I think. Don't hold me to it, but we should be. I gotta. This year we're gonna do a little bit differently. We're gonna try to go live as frequently as possible across this winter. So we're gonna try to make sure we can. It doesn't matter. More people will be here for the big events as they should be. There's no expectation to be for people that live here to care about what's going on here too much unless you got family or you're just interested in it. But so that will happen. But we're going to be covering any significant northeast, mid Atlantic, maybe in some southern snow if that happens. Big if always on that, but we'll be covering covering that. So so I'm pretty excited on here, and we'll be getting upgrading the mic or getting a new mic at some point as well. So yeah, we got 1080 quality, first BGWX stream to ever have 1080 quality. So little snap of the fingers for that. Finally, and then yeah, got Weather Bell back too. So excited for that. But we can see the band start just a little bit starting to get going here, especially here just northeast of Cleveland. Lake effect rain and snow off of Lake Ontario as well. And you can see these bands just kind of already setting up here. Boom. even across land masses as well, right across the different lakes, holding together rather nicely, and then almost clipper like here on the backside here, as all this level energy still moving through, providing snow for the Green Bay game tonight as well. Just a little bit light snow. Dolphins and dolphin when it comes to the cold there. I'm sorry, it's been like that last few years. So let's. Sorry if you're a Dolphins fan. Sorry for catching strays, but it's true. Have to. Division opponent. So here we have right, and even some light snow down here into um, central Ohio as well. So it really is just getting going. We'll see the brunt of it take place tomorrow and Saturday and into Sunday as well. But it will continue, right? We'll have a prolonged period, right? With days. We'll go days. Oh, GFS just loading. So, um, yeah. Can we get we get surface. Let's see what's that max totals. Yeah, I mean, just very impressive. Right, and oftentimes these will underdo it. Right, these will not be able to capture. Right, and then more right in midweek Wednesday. Sorry, it's hard to capture this a lot of times. But just incredible, snowfall. And maybe keep an eye too on some ocean effects snow showers possible. Just given the flow and the setup that we have, some ocean effect snow showers possible on far eastern Cape Cod next week. Right, you'll have multiple systems move through offshore, and as these start to intensify, back here you almost get kind of inverted trough, just a little bit, and because they'll be pretty sheared out and progressive, but trying to intensify, and so you have an opportunity for some maybe some ocean effect light snow possibly next week as well, maybe even Long Island as well for some people that haven't seen snow there yet. So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on that, and then. But yeah, just overall extremely impressive. So we go to got more frames low now here, GFS. I want to see is Weather Bell faster with the GFS this year. Is it? No, not any faster. See the upslope potential though here. Good ski resorts gonna be packed this weekend in Vermont if I had to guess, if they're opening up. Go to where did I want? I wanted the precip. Still cooking on Sunday. Just impressive. It's really impressive to watch. So we'll kind of let the GFS roll out here. And until then, we'll briefly cover, as we always do, what's going on in the longer range. I guess Tidbits is faster. Impressive. RGM on Tidbits though, that's been a disaster lately. It's unfortunate. So let me go to let's break down the overall pattern. I've been continuing to advertise to keep an eye on December 5th. I really like that time frame down the line still. Keep an eye on that. The 18s here, so we can expand out. So we'll keep an eye on December 5th, maybe some saying 6th now, whatever. There'll be a clipper system that moves through. The thing is, right, this is almost a full-on snowstorm here on this one. You're getting an upper level low to start to try to close. That does close off actually. Um, but then we have systems, right? This is still pretty sheared off here, even though we're still positive, but definitely a little bit more of an amplified look, if I had to guess, than we were in previous runs. This is 4 to 5 days out, but it just gives an example, right? All right, see how much more amplified this is now? So this is what I'm talking about, right? Models had this being so flat, and then now we look at this, and you're almost getting storm just offshore. So it's a little bit, it would take some pretty crazy changes for that to turn into a storm. Theoretically possible. You'd have to move that a good 300, 400 miles though. So maybe, I don't know that much, but a good amount, hundreds of miles. You'd have to move that. So unlikely that you hit on that one. You can take a look at the 18Z Euro, I guess, to see what it had to U.S. regions, east. No, give me just see the U.S. regular. There we go. And we'll go to see what Euro kind of had here. Kind of similar. A little bit more broader with the trough. GF is a bit sharper. If we go back here, a little bit more depth to this trough too. It's really not a terrible look at face value, but if you look at 500 heights, but again, we're 500 vort is always more important to look at than 500 height, always, in my opinion. Especially in the short term, that's clear. But even in the medium range, I think 500 volts better than 500 height. In the long range, you can kind of use 500 height to gauge a setup, the different pieces. We like doing that on here. But then when you look at 500 volt after, it gives you a clearer picture. So here we look at it. So it's something to keep an eye on. I'm telling you, December 5th. That's the date I keep looking at. And again, it's a higher ceiling event. Higher ceiling potential for Eastern New England because it's a late bloomer. And remember, we're starting to slow. You can start to see it here. We're moving right quickly, moving our Thanksgiving storm out. We move whatever kind of gets sheared off here out of the way. This kind of southern snowish, whatever, mid-Atlantic Kentucky light clipper, whatever you want to call it, fast flow. And then this start to slow just a little bit, still fast flow but slow, and then still fast flow, but we're slowing pieces down gradually, and then eventually we start dropping energy here at 500 that is having time to kind of come through the United States and navigate versus very fast flow in and out, right? And typically it's not a bad thing. If we look at the past winters, we've been missing that completely. But we want to get a little bit back to this western ridge not coming so far out. And I think I would prefer a more vertical ridge, and it's the same. You can get the same result, but with a vertical ridge, you can kind of oftentimes tap into cold air more too, and pull more cold air down when you get vertical, and it really just depends on your blocking you have in place, and then how you drop your energy over that ridge, and also what kind of southeast ridge you have. Southeast ridge is non-existent right now. Going forward, I should say. So yeah, we'll keep an eye. We'll just sit on this GFS until it's done rolling out here. Let's see how does that compare to, yeah, a little bit more progressive, that one. Not that we're looking for that one to be, but I'm just curious to see how it affects what happens after. Do we have Euro AI on this? We do. Oh, let's use this. There's that clipper. Man, it's just so close. So close. You almost even get a little bit of an event here. You do. You do. You get a little mini snowstorm to pop up. Euro AI has been good in the medium and the long range, right? So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Every night we do stream, I'll keep bringing it up, but really checking in once we get into that 5-day range. What I'm most curious by, and then let's see, progressive, and then more amplified here. Still kind of gets shut down though. This is way out now, so but it's a little out of model's capability. But again, keep an eye on this time frame too. 7th, I don't 7th to 9th, or 9th to 11th, somewhere kind of in that time frame, and we can look for maybe something to happen there. Something to keep an eye on. Ooh, what did I do there? Looks like I pulled up all the warnings by accident. Can undo that. Just want to peek at radar quickly. All right. We're progressing. Slowly rolling out here. That looks like more lake effect to me, though. Indeed, it is. I'm telling you, the lake effect's gonna go into next week. Ooh. Hello. Boom. Stupid ads. And then so we do have lake effect still next week as well, like we talked about. And there's the next clipper system that rolls through after. Right, and patience is key with the long-term pattern, but you gotta remain not necessarily. I like the phrase cautious, optimistic. There's no guarantees, but you gotta you're in place, and you do you're suppressed, but it gives you an opportunity to amplify. Come on, GFS. Takes so long. Euro rolls out way quicker. At least the new Euro does. Let's see. See what the EPS was looking like today. This was 12Z from the EPS. The GFS takes always forever. Always takes a long time. You just gotta dig this further south. That's really it. Continue to build in more ridge. Continue to build in more ridge. I like the mean here, but the flow is still too much. There's still way too many members that um, take it like this rather than drop it in like this. And that makes a huge difference. Huge difference. So let's get a little bit more narrow with this ridge and go more vertical if we can. Or at a minimum, let's drop it in. Just drop it in soon. Or drop it in further west. Now that is a look. That is a look. That's 354 hours out, but that's a look. That's your look right there. That's kind of what we're looking for. Let me get to GFS. Let's see what we had at 18Z. Now you can give me 18Z. Where that at? If this were right here, this would be an all-out snowstorm. If you want to play the game. There's your clipper. You can see it. Again, right? It's like this is like such great placement for the mean of our ridge, but this ridging really gets extended out. So our stuff, our vort has to drop like this instead of if this were sharper. We could drop stuff in here. That's really the only, it's really not a massive change. It is, but it's and this far out stuff that can happen. And then GFS ensemble mean, you see how we drop we're dropping the mean the center point of our trough, I guess I can phrase it as. And we have a little bit more blocking that builds in here. Um, at this point, we wouldn't mind a little bit of a southeast ridge developing too, if we can get that kind of build in like this. Right, Azer is high out here, and if we can kind of just continue to build in our southeast ridge a little bit, at least to kind of contend with this, we can allow stuff to kind of go a little bit more vertical and have to come higher up and less offshore. We're just looking at 18Z verbatim. Now that's a good look right there. Start getting a southeast ridge to build in. Problem is just a little bit. Now you just need some troughing to come south at that point. So that's just it's still a little bit messy. It's not super clear how the medium to long range is going to play out. There's no kind of no guarantees, but just gotta be you gotta be cautiously optimistic, but also patient. Have to be patient when it comes to this stuff. I think some are antsy, but I think most of us are pretty patient at this point, as long as it happens at some point. But this winter pattern looks miles better than it did last year already. I'm much more intrigued. With how this winter is, compared to this time last year. We're expecting changes, and changes we get. It's a bit different, eh? You get, no, I wanted here. Slow cooking. Northeast Cleveland getting cooking though, that's for sure. Oh, here's along our boundary here. Oh, zoom back in. One more. Follow the boundary. All right, had a low pressure system develop off the boundary, and that's what created our snowstorm. Come on, GFS. This feels even slower than usual. I'm patient. I'm doing it. Icon has it a little bit further south. Let's see here. weaker, more progressive as usual. All right, we get to tomorrow night. Close. Probably wait till the day after. We still have this here. We can start kind of tracking, even though it's a lighter. It might be just a real light event. We can kind of start, loosely tracking it. Once we start getting towards that, towards inside the 5-day range. Typically, use the 5-day typically just for when you get bigger systems. Because a lot of people see them on models, and then you get more consistency, and then if they're still there, then you can kind of start to actually track it more. But yeah, GFS does something completely different here on this one. It has a different variation like every run. Right, kind of has something little ocean storm developed just offshore here. Clipper system, light snow, ocean effect snow. Just the trends of what it's done. That was the last. But you can see it has it's had a different solution pretty much every run in this range, and we'll probably keep doing that until further notice. So see what it does in the farther range. But we can people I'm guessing maybe sleeping off that meal today maybe or something, but I'm a little bit of a quieter stream, but we weren't going as long, different time frame. We usually start right about now anyways, at least we did this week. So yeah, I kind of appreciate everybody in the YouTube, as always, even if you didn't chat. Appreciate my liking the stream on your way out. It's always greatly appreciated. And then folks, I stay active. I'll be active on there, and we'll keep following. I'll see what happens with effect. We'll be following that closely, and we'll keep progressing with YouTube as well. Maybe some more to come